Good morning, YouTubers. Welcome back to the sanctuary. Saul here. It's a beautiful morning. The birds are singing. It's not too hot and definitely not too cold. But I wanted to make a video about a interesting story I was told last week by one of our neighbors. I always think it's important to try to gather whatever information I can from other people who live in this area, obviously, and see if they have any, if they've had any experiences. So I was doing some work with my trimmer down on the road, our gravel road that comes up into the hills here, and all of a sudden my neighbors just kind of popped out of nowhere. They had been walking on their adjacent property, and so I turned off my trimmer, of course, and we talked for quite a while. I hadn't seen him in quite a while, and anyways, at one point, I'm kind of talking about this particular parcel where we used to have people camp, but I haven't been operating it for a number of reasons for the last couple of years, I guess. But I was kind of explaining what I've been doing with the whole Sasquatch thing and all that, and his eyes kind of lit up. I told him, I was like, I've had some kind of weird experiences out here, and he said. I don't remember exactly how it went, but yeah, I think I must have said something like, "Well, have you had anything weird or what's going on?" And he said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, we had these rabbits show up, and it was just the skin." And I'm like, "Oh, really?" And so he tells me that it's like somehow, from what it sounded like, the gist of it was that something had gone and caught and killed these rabbits and then brought them back to this area where it had to like get over a retaining wall and come in, and it was like apparently kind of sheltered, but it must have been like closer to their home or whatever, because it seemed like out of place. Like, why were these here? Why wouldn't a wild animal who caught these rabbits take them off into the brush or whatever? Why would it bring it here? But what they described was kind of like when I had the rabbit thing here. That thing, it looked like a Muppet. When Courage the dog brought it up, and she's got it in her mouth. I mean, it totally looked like a Muppet. That's all I can say. Um, and so what he's describing is, he said, yeah, it was the skin, and then he said there was a pile of guts, and then something had just taken the ears off. And then what really creeped him out apparently was that there was like one eyeball right there, like looking up at him. So they just thought that was crazy, and then I think he said maybe there was like 1 foot or something, but it was just sort of it was a mess. And then apparently it happened again shortly after that. And so he had these two incidences of these rabbits or rabbit remains showing up on his property. And so I just wanted to share that with you because that's kind of a. The other thing is that my video that I had, I guess maybe about 3 weeks now ago, something like that, with the dog where she didn't want to go down into the woods. What they're describing would have happened like just shortly after I made that video of the dog not wanting to go into the woods. And the other thing that kind of weirds me out about the whole thing is, like I say, how I started this video. I'm out there trimming along the gravel road, like there's no people around or whatever, and then all of a sudden here they are. Um, they walk their property. I mean, clearly that's by default. And so I don't know if you watch all my videos. The last one that I talked about that had an interesting neighbor story, that individual likes to go out walking, and these folks are out walking, and I'm out walking in the woods, and it almost feels like if this really is a creature that's here kind of in our neighborhood, um, that people who venture into the woods, it's like it leaves these messages or whatever, skulls, different bones, rabbit parts, I don't know. But again, I can't say, since nobody saw it, that it wasn't somehow a coyote or a bobcat or something like that. But it's an interesting account, and it's something to consider. The other thing that they told me was that they had seen a lot of times on the river, they will see like waves, almost like a ship's coming through, disturbances in the water, but they don't see what it is. And I was like, that's kind of interesting. I don't really know if it's just because of the way the wind's coming that day or something, or, just some totally natural effect. But I also just thought it was, they've been out here a long time, so for them to even mention that, kind of seemed, it is kind of interesting. But I'm definitely not saying it's Sasquatch or anything paranormal or anything like that. I just thought it was just something interesting to think about, because at the same time, I do think that Sasquatch use our waterways as a very efficient and camouflaged means of transportation. And so I know we have reports around in this region where they clearly have had to cross the Columbia in order to get to where they're going. Now, I don't think that they would be making the waves that these folks are describing or anything like that, but I'm just kind of saying, like I don't totally know sometimes about some of the things that happen out here. You know, they kind of they're interesting, but I guess that's why I make videos about it. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, and have a great day.